Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to Rock Resurgence Radio. Today, we're bringing you a very special episode featuring a guest who's been making waves in the music scene. We're sitting down with Dylan Soto, the talented drummer and newest member of the resurging rock band Babylon A.D.
Dylan's fresh perspective and powerful drumming have added a new dimension to the band's sound. In this episode, we'll delve into his journey to joining Babylon A.D., the band's creative process, and what the future holds for them. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a rockin' good time.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rock Resurgence Radio. My name is Chad, the host.
And I'm your co-host, Bergie.
Hey, on today's show, we got a very special guest from a little old band called Babylon A.D. You guys might know a little bit about since you've been listening to our station. The newest member, and his name is Dylan Soto, and he is the drummer. Thank you for coming on and doing us the honor of meeting with us and sharing a little bit of your story.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. It's kind of a fun, interesting story how it came about, so I'm excited to share it.
Yeah, awesome. We are excited as well. So like, how's it going? I mean, you're a new guy in the band. How long you been in the band?
Well, as I joke with the guys, I've legally been in the band for about a year and a half,
Okay.
but we kind of started rehearsing. I don't want to say like kind of like in secret in January a couple years back,
Okay.
or last year. I guess it would have been last January, because they hadn't announced anything about new members. They just knew people knew that they had a live album coming out from the original lineup. And that was just kind of a way to let the fans know that the band is back, they're active. And then once it was announced there would be a new studio album, they announced myself and Craig, the new bass player. And it's been fun, man. I've had the most fun this year with all the stuff we've been doing. It's been a blast.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere you guys you went down and played the whiskey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How was that? That had to be kind of surreal, right?
Yeah, that was for me. I don't know how, I'm sure they've played it a million times when they moved down there in the late 80s, but that was my fourth time playing at the Whiskey and my second time with this band. And it's always cool, man. I mean, you're standing on the same stage as Jim Morrison did, you
Right.
know, and
Right.
Joplin and Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, everybody. And I'll never forget the first time I ever played it. I was an opening band, so the drum set didn't get to be on the riser because I wasn't the cool guy.
Yep. Yep.
I remember I did literally kiss the stage as I walked up, though, which I'm surprised I didn't get sick. But
Yeah. Yeah.
You could have caught a few things from that, I'm sure.
You probably
yeah,
should have got
probably
a
was
tetanus
made
after that.
God knows. But it was man, it was fun, man. It's such a blast, and to play a legacy venue like that with a legacy band, kind of, there's
Right.
an extra level of sentimental value to that performance. So it was a lot of fun.
Sweet. I mean, how's the draw? You guys drawing good and uh
LA is a good
yeah.
draw, because I think when they see a band like us is going to be there, it's kind of rare. I don't, it's becoming more common. We're supposed to play there every year. Every tour we do, we're going to play there, but
Nice.
it that helps build a following too. But the first time that I got to play with these guys there was last September. It was Labor Day weekend, which is the weekend the Rainbow does their bash, and like Steelheart was there, Slaughter, Pretty Boy Floyd. So it was like a bunch of that same era all together on weekend. So it was pretty sure it was sold out.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So I got a couple quick questions. So how'd you get hooked up with Babylon AD, first of all?
Well, geez, I'll try to condense it as much as I can, but I've known Ron Fresky for a while, the original guitar player.
Yeah.
I was playing a show in a band that I used to be in called Sundust, downtown Modesto, which is where I live, Modesto, California. And Ron was not in Babylon at the time. He was in a local band with some friends of ours that I didn't know he knew. And he texted me one day and he said, "Hey, I'm playing in this local band. We're looking for a drummer. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "I know who this fucking guy is." But I was a fan of the band. Being a California guy, of course I know who these guys are. And I texted him and said, "Are you from Babylon A.D.?" And he goes, "Yeah." So I played in that band for a little over a year. And then Derek Davis, the singer, called Ron and said, "Hey, we got an offer to do another record, but Rob and Jamie can't do it. Do you know anybody?" So I was Ron's first phone call to see if I wanted to jam. And pretty neat.
Awesome. So you were obviously a drummer prior. You're
Yeah.
only 23. When was your earliest influences in music? Was it always this type of music for you, like the what we lovingly call hair bands, or I don't know. Some people say, "Oh, you can't call them that," but we use that term
Yeah.
of endearment. So,
Yeah. It is kind of, I did start with this kind of music for sure. When I was a kid, I was born in 2001. MTV was all reality TV show pretty much at that
Right.
point. It was all Cribs and 16 and Pregnant. And I thought it was music television, not maternity television, but
That's
you
funny.
know, kind of strange. But I had VH1 Classic on TV, and they had that TV show Metal Mania.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
record
me too. Actually,
that.
too bad it's the same 10 videos over and over
I
now, but
know.
Well, it depends how late you stay up though, because I, instead of going to bed to go to school the next morning, would stay up and see if I could catch anything else. But there was a lot of Dokken and Metallica and Priest and all that stuff. But I remember seeing a video for the shirt you're wearing, Tortora. I saw a Dangerous Toys video, and I saw my first Babylon music video, which was Hammer Swings Down. And I just remember liking it. And I thought they looked cool. I thought the drum sets were way too big, but it was awesome. So that was like my first big influence in the music. And my dad got me into a lot of that. And, also into the more soul side of things, like Ohio Players and Isley Brothers and Confunction and that kind of stuff. So anything with a good groove, I was just drawn to, which now is almost anything. I just love music.
awesome.
That's awesome. So when did you start drumming or become a drummer? When did dad buy you sticks, or did you have a guitar first and said I hate the guitar and went to drums, or how to go?
Well, it was my dad and I at the house when I was about 5 years old. And leading up to all of this, I would pull pots and pans out of the cupboards, and I'd set it up like a drum set, not knowing what a drum set was. And I'd grab a ladle and a spatula, and I would just start, not well, but I would just start hitting them. And by the time I was 5 or 6, I kept asking my dad for a drum set, and he was like, "Yeah, we could get you a drum set." So we went to Toys R Us and got a little first act kit with the paper heads,
Yep.
busted through that in a week.
Yep. I was just gonna figure that was gonna happen.
Yeah, but what was weird about that, and my dad would tell you this too, is like we had these old Panasonic speakers next to the drum kit, one here and one here, kind of like side fills on a stage, and he would play music from the iPod. And I remember one of the first songs he played was "Bang Your Head," Quiet Riot. And
Nice.
I'd never played it before. I'd listened to it, and I played through the whole song.
Wow.
And then a couple weeks later, I had a PDP drum kit, and it's just been very loud in my house ever since.
Driving the neighbors crazy ever
Yeah.
since.
Luckily, my neighbors are pretty cool. There's pretty much the same neighbors I've had since I was born.
Yeah.
So they've heard drums come from this house for, let's see, about 18 years now. So
Wow.
Nice. 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 Nice.
So you're still living in the same place.
yeah, this is the exact room that I learned in. Uh,
Wow.
I've had this drum kit behind me for about, I want to say, 10 years. It resembles a 57 Chevy. My dad got it for me.
That's
That's
killer.
cool.
And then on the road, I play a DW acrylic set, which I have stacked in the corner. And then I got a bunch of guitars, Marshall half stack and stuff for writing music. So
Cool. 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 It's cool to,
So speaking of new music,
yeah.
I've listened to it. You guys have a new album out.
yeah,
Rome wasn't built in a day.
that's the
Yeah.
one.
How
It-
how did I was kind of curious, as you just mentioned that you write music. Were you part of the writing process on this album, or was it straight kind of the old
no,
head?
100% was in the writing. I have, I think, 3 or 4 songwriting credits on the album.
Nice.
It's kind of cool for a new member.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You know what? It's weird because I listen to all my stuff on Apple Music, so it doesn't really give anybody cred. You know,
Yeah.
so it's hard to find out who wrote the songs without doing a lot of research. Whereas back in the when him and I grew up, you had cassettes and then it went to CDs and stuff, and you'd always look at the liner notes and say, "Hey, cool, this guy wrote, this guy's the primary writer, blah blah blah." So yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
just like that. So,
yeah,
but
it was very collaborative, man. I mean, some of these songs, like I think three of the songs on this record, Derek wrote by himself, and we didn't really have anything different to contribute to it, so we just played it as it was written.
nice.
Uh, but yeah, no, I think I mean, I don't know what it was like before the writing process. I wasn't there, obviously, but this was probably the most collaborative writing experience I've ever been a part of in a band. I've written a decent amount of music for my, somewhat short time here on Earth, but Derek's really fun to write with because I think he's a really good lyricist. He kind of paints a good picture with his words, which is my favorite kind of lyricism.
Yeah,
You give him a good guitar for a good drum beat, you have a song in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm a big lyric guy, and so I love a good lyricist, like you said. I mean, it's great to hear good, almost poetry in a song.
right. One of both Chris and I's favorites is Janie Lane of Warrant. We just thought he was like top of the hill.
Yeah,
But the first Babylon AD is so freaking good. I love that album. The second one's good too. This one here really surprised me. Derek's voice sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Um, like
Tell you what the secret is to keeping his voice like that. It's whiskey.
I was gonna say whiskey or beer. It's got to be one of those two things. Um, what kind of whiskey does he like to drink?
Oh God, I don't know. I know what the bottle looks like, but I'm not even sure what it is. It's
but we're not here to talk about his whiskey anyway. We're here to talk to Dylan, right?
Right, but it was curious.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, so got to live vicariously when I can. So we covered you did 3 to 4 songs yourself, which is really cool.
yeah.
Um, do they still like I know back in the day Derek had a couple side projects, or is it all Babylon AD all the time, or do you guys venture off and do other things as well?
That's a good question. Lately, for all of us, it's just been Babylon. Um, Derek, I mean, he's got friends in the Bay Area, which is where they're from.
Yep.
They were at our show last night, which was really cool. It was a hometown show for us, and everybody turned out. And there's, musicians that he's been in cover bands with or people he's written with. I mean, Danny De La Rosa was there because he was playing with a band who was in the band for like 20, 30 years.
Yep.
And yeah, no, we kind of all have our own little things outside of the band, but we haven't touched them since we started because, especially since the album's come out and done so well, it's kind of just been keep putting coal in the fire, just keep going, just keep going. But like outside of that, I mean, I still write myself. I'm always writing something, whether it's in my head or in my car. I get an idea, I pull out my phone and record a voice memo, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, you got to do that because you never know where the next opportunity lies. I'm not saying jump out of Babylon AD, but I mean, that could be the inspiration for the next album or your
Well,
next solo thing or whatever. So,
that's the thing. Since I played pretty much every instrument, I had put out a solo EP a few years back when I turned 20. It came out on my 20th birthday. And one of the songs on that EP, the music from it is going to be on the next studio album.
oh,
Okay.
really?
They're
What's
trying
that,
to version. Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
that called?
Was it just under your name?
I don't know what he's calling it yet, but the solo EP is called Mistake.
Just with your name.
Dylan Soto.
Yep.
Okay. Is it on Apple Music or anything?
Yeah, Apple Music, Spotify. I think you can find CDs on Amazon. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
There's songs I wrote through like high school when I finally had enough money to record them when I turned 20.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. We'll check that out for
So,
sure.
are you guys playing like these one-off shows? Or you guys actually have like a touring partner, or
well,
are you playing just locally? Sorry.
we're working on the larger tour plans, but a lot of the thing of it, man, is it's hard. It's hard to go out for that long.
It's expensive.
It's expensive, and not everybody wants to put up the money that you. It's not like we're trying to rip people off. We need it to get there and to eat and to sleep. but we're working on it. Our manager's going to a big conference with some talent buyers and trying to pair us up with some bigger names. But we've been kind of doing the weekend warrior gig right now, you
Yep.
know. But I mean, shit, in August we were gone every weekend. We did Fresno, Salt Lake City, Utah, Denver, Colorado, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which was the Mountain Music Festival. That was badass. Sacramento. We just did Oroville, which is like up in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
at the casino. And then last night we were just in Fremont, their hometown.
Well, you have to. There's a little festival that they have in Hinckley, Minnesota, in September of every year called Rock Timber. You guys should try to get on to that.
We're working on it because I just found out about that and wasn't didn't Vane play that?
Yeah, Vane just played that. Rhino Bucket. Oh, I don't remember. I had tickets to it, but my concert goer partner moved to New Mexico, so I didn't want to go by myself, and this guy wouldn't go with me. So I missed it this year, but we went last year, and they had Kicks last year, which is I got to see the second to last Kick show ever.
Yeah.
Brett Michaels was there last year. Shit, Trickster, Firehouse.
Mm.
It's all that 80s kind of rock. That's what they try to get in there. And matter of fact, we just did an interview with Anthony Corder of
Oh, Tora Tora.
Tora Tora, and he played that a few years back too. So, and then he was also at Monsters of the Mountain. He was talking about that when we did an interview with him. So you guys were probably there at the same time, and
Yeah, we played the same day. They were two or three bands after us or something like that. And Anthony's super sweet guy.
oh
Um,
my God, he's unbelievable. He's just it was unreal.
Yeah.
He's just so down to earth, so easy to talk to. Like we didn't hardly get an
Word.
word in. I mean, he
Yeah.
just kind of rambled on, and we just let him because it was fun.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah. Unlike you, Dylan, you're making it a little more difficult.
Right.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me take a drink of my water here.
Yeah.
You're
No,
good.
no, you're doing great. Doing great.
So what are,
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so what are some of your favorite songs to play as a drummer of the Babylon AD older stuff?
Oh man, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
How big is your set? How many songs do you guys typically play?
Oh man, it kind of varies. Like last night and the night before, we had a bit longer than usual of a set, so we played 17 songs.
Okay,
Wow. Nice.
pretty good show.
Yeah, but most of the time we're doing like 13, 12 or 13 songs. Um, man, I mean, you can't play a Babylon A.D. show and not play Bango the Bells. I
Right.
think
I was just
will
I was just
throw.
gonna say that's probably a closer for you pretty much every show.
Oh, Bang is not the closer. Kid Goes Wild is always the closer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Daryl gets up and sits on the kick drum, and then there's like a whole thing with it. But I would like to close with something else, maybe like "Sacrifice Your Love" or something like that. That'd be pretty
Um,
cool.
Question for you. Do you dub in the Sam Kinison thing?
No, Derek does it.
He does the Sam Kinison voice?
Yeah, the "you fucking cops" part. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he does.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam Kinison's got one of those voices. It's pretty unmistakable. So yeah.
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 Well,
Cool.
I mean, not that in my opinion that there's anything wrong with it necessarily, but we don't use any tracks or we don't use in-ears. It's nothing like that. We're just
Good.
natural.
Right.
And again, this is just my opinion. I think you learn more about your performance without relying on something else to help you with it.
Right.
But yeah, Derek does the Sam Kinison thing. We close with Kid Goes Wild. I think if I could only pick one and I had to play that same song on stage every day for the rest of my life, of the classic stuff, I would probably pick Marianne. I really like Marianne. That's a fun one to play drum wise because it's just so syncopated. Um, but crowd reaction wise, hearing 3,000 people scream Bango the Bells at you is pretty badass.
Yeah, that's the one that really got me when I got the cassette way back in the day. That's the song that I wanted to learn the guitar part too because I was like, that's a cool ass riff, man. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I was like, oh man, I gotta learn that, and I finally figured it out at one time, and yeah, so That's probably my favorite Babylon song just because of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole first album is really, really good.
Yeah.
So, um,
And I've probably only listened to Rome was built in a day one time through, so I can't be fair.
well,
I always have to listen to an album 3 or 4 times before I say, like, okay,
Yeah. Us too.
I really enjoyed the first 3 or 4 songs, and then on into towards the end of the album.
yeah,
So
I've listened to it a little more than that, and I think it's very good.
Thank you.
I,
Yeah.
I don't, it's hard for me to like anything more than the debut album of most bands, or the the album that I got into first. So like with Motley Crue, it'd be Shout at the Devil. So it's hard for me to pick anything other than Shout at the Devil as my favorite Motley Crue album because that's what I got into first. So that's kind of the same thing with Babylon AD.
Yeah.
Uh, that being said, I was listening to what is the first song on the damn
Machine?
what?
Wrecking Machine?
Yeah, you got some impressive drum stuff on there. I,
Thank you. Yeah, they kind of just took the chain and said, "Do whatever you want." I said, "Okay."
yeah, I was,
yeah,
ever since we knew we were interviewing you, I made it a purpose to listen to it and listen to the drums, and I was like, hmm, this guy's
Yeah.
really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's got some impressive work in there. And then we were just kind of getting ready to do all this stuff, and Chris like, I wonder how old he is, and I said, yeah, just on the picture, I'd say he's younger than the rest of them, and yeah, yeah, you're definitely younger. I don't know who else is, but the bassist that they hired at the same time as you looks to be of the age of the original members.
Yeah, no, they're all around the same age. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't actually know how old any of them are. I just know they're old enough to be my uncles. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, they got to be right in that 55 to 60 age, I would guess, right
yeah.
in there.
I
We're
think,
both 53, so kind of we kind of know the ages of the bands pretty close, except for Mick Mars is like 72, and
yeah,
you guys out there that are were older
yeah,
when they were in the heyday. So
yeah.
so what's next on the calendar for you guys? You guys got any shows coming up?
We do. We're kind of taking it slow right now because we're starting to go back in the studio and write the next album.
Oh wow,
We're kind of, just kind of trying to cook while the fire's hot. We all have a lot of inspiration and new things to share.
right,
Um, we have a Halloween show coming up in the Bay Area at a place called Vinny's in Concord, California. There's a huge, the biggest, I think they're the biggest rock radio station in the state. 107 The Bone is putting on a Halloween party, and it's us and a White Snake tribute band.
cool.
We're gonna be doing that, so I think we should all dress up as something together. Like we should all choose somebody from Scooby Doo,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I might just go as a Joker and we'll do something like that. After that, we have a string of shows that I guess I'm not supposed to say anything about until January.
Okay.
That's
Well,
pretty exciting. And then I do know that next year we're going to Europe for at least a couple weeks. We're headlining a couple festivals and one's in Leicester, and I don't remember where the other one was.
yeah. Do you I feel like, back in the day, you were, what year were you born?
2001, he said.
2001? Oh, you didn't, grunge didn't affect you. Um, anyways, back in 92 or whatever, I think the first album came out in 90 and then the next album came out in 92 so it just kind of crushed our, our kind of music. Um, but they kind of weathered the storm and went through. I was kind of looking, and then they released an album in '99. God, I can't remember the name of the albums to save my life, but
Oh, well, they had a live album called Live in Your Face, and it was a
yep,
compilation album, and then they did American Blitzkrieg.
yep. Okay, yeah, that live album is what I'm thinking of. You weren't around for that. Did they ever talk about that and what it was like during that time? Because you're going from way up here, and we kind of talked about this with Anthony too, and it's just like all of a sudden you know, the record label's gone and this and that. Do they ever talk? talk to you about that or what it was like to go through that at the time?
Yeah, we were literally just talking about that this morning at breakfast, actually. Um, because, I talk a lot about how just because I'm so fascinated with music history, just as a fan of music, because as much as I love the hairband stuff, I love grunge because I love Alice in Chains and shit. So hearing them talk about it, it makes me sad because there was a lot of bands coming out in the late 80s, like
Oh,
Babel,
yeah.
and some might say it was too much and it was kind of unfiltered. Everybody was just kind of doing the same thing. To
Mm.
my ears, two of the best bands that had a debut between 88 and 90 was Babylon A.D. and Bullet Boys. Two of the best debut records of that era, bar none, um, to me. But yeah, they talk about it and they talk about how they had to take a break from each other. Everybody kind of started having kids. They all had families.
Yeah.
And when they came back together, it just felt like home again. That was what they kept reiterating was we knew we just wanted to keep playing music, so that's all we did. And we were lucky enough to still have a fan base. And the fan base is growing again
I
with
was,
this.
yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. So I think right now, in comparison when they were weathering that storm, like you were saying, when the 90s was happening, I think this is a bit of a resurgence for not only us, but any band from that era. Um, People are finding it again. People my age are liking it. I mean, the high school I went to, there was a kid that went to our show in Sacramento. He's 16 years old, and he's the biggest fan of the band I've ever met in my life.
That's so
He
cool.
His mom gave him a CD. Hey, check out this band I used to go see at Niles Station in Fremont. "Oh, okay. And then he learned that their new drummer, me, went to his high school, so he's freaking out. So there's a whole new age range of kids finding it. So it's kind of giving the band some lighting a fire under the band.
And
That's
I
awesome.
and I find that is what's going on right now is this music is starting to kind of resurface and starting to take hold again. And I'm not going to say anything about you liking grunge because I like some of that stuff too. Like I'm a big fan of Alice in Chains, like you said, Stone Temple Pilots. I thought Soundgarden was pretty awesome, and Chris Cornell could sing the lights out. So and there's some of that stuff that was really good. I'm just not a huge on like the Nirvana wasn't. It just didn't catch me. The first album or not the first album, their big album. It was good at the time. It was all right to listen to, but it just to me that stuff went away, and when it went away, I never went back to find it like I did with this stuff. This
Yeah.
stuff is what got me through my high school years, through my college years. This was home to me as like you said, like it felt like it was home. This has always been that music for me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're happy to be hopefully part of bringing it back, the whole resurgence thing.
Yeah.
We like all kinds of music, but
Yeah,
Babylon AD from 89 to 92, that's wheelhouse for us.
right.
You know,
We absolutely live and die for that stuff. It's just
It's great.
yeah, and there's some other guys that do this. I'm sure you get probably requests all the time, but there's another guy from North Dakota that does this as well, and we've made friends with him, and we kind of get together sometimes and we do these roundtable discussions um, about certain bands. So you're kind of a younger guy who got into these older hair bands and stuff like that. We might have to call you up sometime when we do a roundtable, and you can jump in on Zoom. And what we do like is we did Rat, we did Tesla, and we rank their albums. Like we'll pick like the first Rat to Detonator, and then we'll all rank them. And
Yeah.
there's like 6, 7 of us on a Zoom call, so it's kind of fun,
it is
and
a blast.
yeah, it's kind of a blast because everybody jokes and has a good time, and so yeah, if you're ever down for that, let us know. We'll invite you to one or something, or I'll give you a heads up on what we're doing next. And I think what were we talking about? Did we have any in the pipeline? Oh, we were talking about Kiss, doing
Yeah.
a Kiss thing, but that was just songs, not albums. But
Oh
but
man.
we do that.
Yes, my best friend Seth would be there. He's the biggest Kiss fan I've ever met in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
I know. The Kiss Army is huge.
Oh yeah, I think it's the biggest fan base of almost any band ever.
Probably. I would, well, it's been going since the frickin' 60s, or not 60s, 70s, but
Yeah.
I just,
So you got
yeah.
the new album. How
Yeah.
long has that been out? And you got some shows that you have been playing, and you got some upcoming shows.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to plug before we let you go for the day?
Oh man. Well, if anybody hasn't checked the album out yet, not just because I'm in it, I think you should. If you liked the first two, I think you'll love this. There's a lot of elements of the first two on this album, but it doesn't feed off of just that. There's a lot of new originality to it. I do think that my style of drumming is a bit different than Jamie's. I'm a little more, not that it's, that Jamie's fucking great. I mean, I'm playing his stuff every night, but it's just, there's a new fire, I think, to this music, and there's something to be said. We have something to say. And Derek's voice, I think, is the best it's ever been, especially considering for how long he's been doing it. I think that Ron and John are two of the best guitar players that I've ever played with, and they write some of the best stuff. Craig, my rhythm partner, is a great player, and I don't know. Come see us, man. We got big stuff coming up. Stuff I didn't think I'd ever get to do. Like when we did the Mountain Festival in Tennessee. We were playing with Tortora, Dangerous Toys, Quiet Riot, Vixen, all those people, super nice people, and then you just walk out on stage and you can't see the end of the people. I mean, it's coming back, man, and we're definitely a part of it. And I'm just a happy kid.
You're just along for the ride, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get to show up and there's a drum set for me. I just have to show up with my drumsticks and play a show and go to bed and do it again. It's unlike anything I ever thought I'd get to do, you know?
Yeah. Probably more than you dreamed, when you were 15 going, I want to do this.
Well, when you were 5 or 6 and hitting those pots and pans on the floor.
Right.
Yeah, no, when I was hitting those pots and pans on the floor, I was trying to play along to talk dirty to me, and my parents are trying to tell me it's not about dirty dishes, you know. But no, man, the album's great. Um, in my opinion, I had a lot of fun recording it. A fun fact about the making of the album, not a lot of people know this, the drums were recorded in 2 days, less than 10 hours studio time for the drums.
Oh, yeah, that's not much time.
Not because we couldn't do it, but
You
it
nailed it right off first
Just killed
taker.
it.
You're a
uh,
first taker.
about 8 of the songs are one take on the drums.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's doing it right.
Well, of what that stems from my perspective is I didn't have a lot of money to spend on studio time when I was younger. So I would do as much research right here and get it as correct as I could so I wasn't wasting anybody's time or money in the studio. So that just kind of it stays with me. Plus it's more efficient. Just come rehearsed and it's done quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
It's not the 80s like it was back in the heyday when the record company would put out $500,000 for you guys to just mess around and
Yeah.
drink and have a good time and do whatever. It's, you know, for bands like, for almost any bands, I think, other than like Taylor Swift and shit like that, there's probably a limited amount of budget that they want to spend on an album. So here you go. You got this much money, and if you blow through it, so be it.
And I tell you what, I mean, I don't know what anybody else's deals are, but Paris Records and Tom Mathers have been so good to us with distribution and helping us promote the hell out of them. We have a whole team working for us, radio people, management, booking agents. I mean, it's legit stuff, and
Cool.
they've done such a great job with us, and it pushes us to keep doing our best when we go out in front of people, when they believe in what we put out and they're pushing it to everybody. I mean, when Alice Cooper compliments your music, that's everything. Eddie Trunks played it on Hair Nation, Striegel. It's gotten played a lot of different stations across the states. And when we, entered the top 10 with our first two singles, with a top 10 rock radio singles, it was I dropped my phone. Like it was just
Uh,
incredible. So you know,
Hey,
it,
congrats on all the accolades you're getting right now. Because I mean, it is a good album, and I think it's gonna, you know, it's gonna bode well for your next album.
yeah,
And it's only gonna, like you said, it's catching back on. It's catching fire again. I think it's gonna within the next 5 years. I think this music's gonna be the number one again. I just feel that because there is a lot of bands out there that are coming out that sound like the 80s band kind of sounded. A lot of them are coming from what's that country? Sweden,
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 Finland.
Finland. Yeah, a
yeah,
lot of bands from over there. They've been doing it for a while too, but yeah, I just, I don't know. I guess that's kind of what I listen to, so that's what the algorithm kind of puts in my ear too. So there's probably some of that has something to do with it also. But I don't know. I just feel it like it's coming back, and I can't would couldn't be happier with it because
yeah, me too. Because I kind of am being a gatekeeper though with some of my friends that I grew up with because I used to try to tell them this is really cool music. Oh, they look like girls. No, it's cool, but it's cool. Look, and I had a Poison folder in school and everything. And now all my friends are giving me shit back then. They're like, "Hey, man, that stuff's cool." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you, dude. Okay, I tried to tell you 18 years ago." Okay, no,
that's that's funny. That's
yeah,
great. Yeah, keep doing that. Keep telling people it's awesome because it is.
yeah,
And thanks to you for coming on and doing the interview. We really do appreciate it.
yeah.
And I don't know if you got my email, but yeah, pick out something from our merch store and I'll send it out to you.
Oh, cool.
It'd
Yeah.
be, it'd be really cool for us to see you on stage and you'd had a rock resurgence radio shirt on or
Right.
something, that we'd be like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
we made it. Then we
Yeah,
made it.
then we made it.
No, yeah, I'd be happy to. I'll take a look. You sent me a link.
Yep, I sent you a link. Yep.
I'll check it out, man. Well, thank you. Seriously, I'm flattered you guys thought I was cool enough to talk to, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, we
Definitely.
definitely, and
And now that we've talked to you, we know you're even more cool than that. So
yeah, you're cooler than the other guys in your band by far.
we appreciate you coming on.
Don't tell Derek. Yeah,
No, no, don't tell Derek because someday it would be awesome if he came on, but I really dig his voice. He's just got a unique voice. I like it. It's different.
it is, and it kind of sticks in your ear a little bit.
It does. It's just I don't know what it is, but I can't put my finger on it. But it's just a little different than the rest of the people that were coming out at that time. But you were right when you said there was a plethora of bands coming out, and everybody and their dog was getting signed at the end of the '80s. The record companies were just licking their chops, going, "We're going to make some money. We're going to make some money," and they were signing whoever. So there's a lot of crap out there that came out at the end of that, but there's some real gems too
Real
that
good
came out,
ones. Yep.
real good ones.
Yeah, and I just this closing statement here. I think, in my opinion, I mean, there's so many albums and bands that you could point to for the birth of that kind of rock.
Right?
Always point to Van Halen one every day.
Yeah.
Not,
Yep, they were a huge, huge influence on everything that went on.
yeah, and and earlier than that too. Like I was driving home today with my girlfriend, and we were listening to Sweet and T
Oh,
Rex,
yep,
and then I listen to that and I go, man, they were ahead of their time too.
yep,
So it's all good stuff, man. And
it is.
to
And
take, we still take inspiration when we write from all that stuff too. So it's if you I think if you start at the correct route, you end up at the right branch. That's kind of my saying
right,
when it's writing or being creative. If you start from kind of not the same place every time, because you only suck up a well so much till it's dry,
right.
but that same area, I think you end up in the right place. So hopefully we can keep doing that, making fans like yourself happy.
Yeah, well, I hope so too, because like I said, I think it's back, and I think it's going to stick around, and it's maybe another decade of decadence is on the way.
I hope so, because man, that's my prime. That'd be great.
Yeah, you nailed it with the Van Halen thing, and it's so cool that they went through three lead singers before you were even born, and you can go
Yeah.
back to them. Yeah, so
Yep.
I have the first record. Actually, I have all of the Roth era on vinyl, original prints that my girlfriend got for me
yeah.
for my birthday.
Yeah, you
And
better put a ring on that one.
yeah,
Right one.
right. I know. Um,
An announcement on our show?
Well,
no,
yeah.
no, not yet. I'm only 23, guys. Slow down.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to have 3 kids first.
Goes by fast.
Yeah, no, I'm just enjoying life, man. Life's good. I have great people surrounding me. My dad supported me my whole life. He's taken me to every show, because when you're under 21, you can't go play everywhere unless your parents there.
Yeah.
And he got home from work, helped me load up my drums and take me wherever I needed to go. He still goes,
Awesome.
and it's the best thing in the world.
Awesome. Well, tell your dad thank you for doing that because he raised a cool cat, man.
Yeah, will do.
So, well, with that, Dylan, we are going to let you go, and we really appreciate you being on and being cool. And we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, let me know, man. I'll do it anytime.
Awesome. Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
You guys.
All right. Thanks. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed our content. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We'd greatly appreciate it. Links to everything we discussed will be included in episode notes. Feel free to check those out as well. Until next time, stay golden, Pony Boy, and rock on.